Yeah, you can.
Hi, welcome everybody. Not much to say, but yes, Management Through Movies is a small initiative that has been sponsored by Squaresequel Consulting. We've been doing this for over 4 weeks now, and we welcome all of those who have continuously supported and joined our sessions, as well as welcome to those who are here for the first time. So, without any much more time, back to you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zoya. Thank you. And it's an initiative, as Zoya said, wherein we pick up a new movie every fortnight, and then we'll deep dive into what the movie can teach us with respect to different topics. We have touched conflict management in the past. We have touched collaboration. We have touched goal setting. But today's movie is very interesting. And as I did the poll, and we realized that none of you have seen the movie. When I saw the movie for the first time, I mean, I was totally, it's so gripping movie that, I couldn't move. I was watching it on the Netflix and I was just glued to the screen. This movie is based on how President Nelson Mandela was able to unite the complete country, South Africa, who have just, through sports. Sports is a great leveler, right? And this story revolves around two people. One, of course, is the President Mandela, and second gentleman is Francis. He is the captain of the rugby team called Springboks, which was a very strong team, or which South Africans used to relate to, right? But this was predominantly a white team. So interestingly, this movie gets its name from his poem written by William E. Henley in late 1890s. And I would like to read this poem for you, because this poem kept Nelson Mandela on and on and on, and inspired him in his 27 years of prison. Out of night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my fate, and I am the captain of my soul. Now, this is so interesting that initially when the movie begins, one wonders that where is this name coming from? Till the time there is a meeting between the rugby captain and the President Nelson Mandela. Right. So this is a very interesting poem, and when I read it for the first time, and it's actually become more like, I keep on referring it to me because it's so inspiring. Okay. Now, the movie is, just to give you a little brief about the movie, our agenda is to talk about the movie first, then we talk about the learnings, and then we have a Q&A. Now, this is directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Morgan Freeman, one of my favorite actors, and Matt Damon. Now, this is based upon a true story, how the President Nelson Mandela was able to inspire and unite a complete nation torn by the ravages of apartheid era through an all-white rugby team, which is Springboks. And he was actually delivering a message of self-mastery through this movie. And that poem, which I just shared, he read and recited on and on in this 27 years of jail. And there's a mention that, the entire rugby team actually visited that cell in the Robben Island, where in one tiny cell, President Mandela had spent 27 years. I mean, that's something which is beyond explanation. I mean, it's such a touchy scene over there. So what movie talks about is backdrop of Nelson Mandela's historic release from the Robben Island, 27 years in prison. 4 years later, he becomes the first black president of South Africa. And there's a very beautiful scene. If you see the picture on your screen, the below one, all the staffers who used to work in the president's office, all white people were panicking. They were leaving as he was going to take charge of the office, because they thought that there is going to be nobody will take care of them because it's going to be again complete black domination. However, what President Mandela did, he was facing a challenge on how can I reconcile between the majority blacks and the minority white people. And if you see this scene, he specifically mentions that there is no need for anyone to fear anything. Nobody's going to take your jobs. Now, the interesting part was that the guards, the presidential guards, which were there to guard the president, ANC, the African National Congress, has also sent its people. And there were whites also who were doing that for the previous president. And there was a lot of mistrust between them. Right? Now, imagine if there's a mistrust between the guards of the president, I mean, what it can do to the president himself. And that is where the president also came in and ensured that there's a trust which is built between them. Right? Now, interesting part is he attended a game between the country's rugby union team, Springboks, and England. And majority of the black population was supporting England. And that is where he also realized that how he used to do the same thing when he used to be in the prison and they used to listen to the commentary. So he thought of an idea. What can I do? Can I use this as an opportunity to unite, to name it as one team, one country? That's where he got inspired that I have to ensure that I'm going to unite my nation. Otherwise, the country was actually going to go into a civil war. Right? So he embodied by the slogan, one team, one country. He set the goal of Springboks winning the World Cup. And Mandela tried to encourage black South Africans to get behind the previously hated national rugby team, as South Africa was to host the 1995. This is based on real story, a 1995 World Cup. Now, the sports body was again totally, completely dominated by blacks now. And they said, no, we are not going to do this. So Mandela actually drove down to their meeting and persuaded them, why are you doing it like this? Why you should not support Springboks, right? Then he met the captain, and that's where the mention of this, the interesting conversation is there. And there's a small video also put up on YouTube. Whenever you get time, do watch it. Just between the conversation between the president and the captain. And that's where the President Mandela asked the captain, what do you do to ensure that you're able to inspire people? And the captain said, I lead them from the front. He said, that is all right. What else? And eventually he said that there's a particular song which he plays once everybody settled down, because that brings a lot of calm and alignment to what they need to do. That is where President Mandela also shared this poem, which has inspired his time in prison, right? And what he did, he created a complete plan that how they are going to hold clinics of rugby across the country, wherein Springbok team used to go and play with the kids in the local localities. And eventually, the South African team reached the final against the almighty New Zealand. And Mandela, he also went there. He actually wore the François Pienaar's T-shirt number 6, which was seen as a great gesture by the president of an president of an organization to the captain of the rugby team. Right? And that is where the team was so inspired that South Africa actually won that World Cup. And as Clark, the last president of the apartheid era, said, Mandela won the hearts of millions of white rugby fans. Now, I want to take you forward to what is the learning. So the way I look at this movie is, what is your anchor? Now when I say what is your anchor in the difficult times, what holds you, or what do you hold to ensure that you stay focused on what you are supposed to do? For example, this poem, Invictus, was for Mandela. When he was down, he used to read that. It used to inspire him. You need to ask yourself, what is that anchor which will make you stay focused on what you want to achieve? Yeah. So there's the first thing which I would like you people to think. What is your anchor? Right? What is that you? Let's say something goes wrong. What do you fall back on, or what holds you from falling down? Right? And I'm sure all of us have something or the other. Probably the need. Some of us already know it. Probably some of us just have to define it. All you have to do is spend time with yourself. Ask yourself, when you're down, you're certainly not out. What brings you back on your feet. So that's the first part. What is your anchor? Second is choose optimism, face your fears and act, and surround yourself with positive people. Now, when I say choose optimism, you have to have, and pick up any scenario for that matter. As they say, all of us have 24 hours. We have same number of time, same number of seconds. All of us, whether you are a head of an organization or you're a security guard of that company, right? What you need to do is you need to ask yourself, where are you using and putting your energies? Are you going to put them on fear, or are you going to put them on doubt, or are you going to put them on optimism or faith? And well, why not choose optimism if that is the case? And that is what Nelson Mandela did. He was so optimistic that people used to always tell him that this will not happen. He'll say, no problem, I'll make it happen. He was an amazingly positive person. Second thing, the country was looming into the almost a civil war. He said, no problem, I am going to take this challenge head on and act. Now, I have also seen, I want to share a small instance here. This happened with me about 2019 April, when I was visiting US, and I was attending actually a course in Harvard. And I'm always wary of long flights. I always take a hopping flight. So my flight was supposed to travel, from Mumbai, London, London, Boston. That is a trip while going as well as while returning. And this, I'm talking about the time when actually Jet Airways went down. My booking was with Jet Airways. And I realized that, I will be able to reach London, but beyond London, I'll not be able to reach home. Unless there was, I would have a different ticket because Jet Airways has gone down. At that point of time, I looked at the various options. So from Boston, I had to come to the Newark airport. And there was a direct flight, 16 and a half hours from Newark to Mumbai. For a moment, I was like, oh my God, 16 hours in a plane. And then I realized I had no other option of all the other available, which with me. I said, no problem. Let me face those fears and let me take them head on. And before I could realize, I had reached Mumbai. To me, it was a great reflection of understanding that the moment we confront our fears, we overcome them. This also reminds me of train journeys which I used to take as a child. And I'm talking about those compartments without air conditioners. Okay, so as a child, I used to always want to sit in the window seat, and if you remember those trains, the moment you want to put your head out, you can't, because there are grills which are there. You can't take your complete head out. But whatever I could peep out, I could see along with the railway tracks, there were some trees. The moment the tree will come very close to the train, it will look very big. But the moment the same tree, the train is over to overcome, or the train is able to pass by, the same big tree used to look very, very small. And while I was understanding, and how do I face your fear? This also reminded me, the problem, the fear may look big, but the moment you confront them, overcome them, they will look very, very small. Right? And the third and interesting part is surrounding yourself with the positive people. And I have heard this so many times in the last 2 months or so, that how do you ensure that people who you spend your time with, also have a similar wavelength, or also share the same goals, same dream, same hope, what you have. And you will realize that it actually gets amped up, right? Now, this is something which I couldn't help myself from quoting here, even though we're talking about management from the movies. This book, this is another book, this is a book actually, Playing the Enemy, and which is also renamed as Invictus now. Do read this book in case if you get time. Of course, do watch the movie. Now, this is something interesting about Nelson Mandela. He had an amazing secret weapon, and this is mentioned on page 252 there in the book. The secret weapon is that he would always assume that he would like the people he's going to meet. He will not only stop that, he also assumed that they will also like him. And when I was looking at it, so many times, especially when we are, for example, in sales, when we are thinking of calling up a customer, half of the time we actually keep thinking of things which probably are never going to happen, right? All those fears, all those prejudice, or maybe preconceived notions. But here is this man, he said, you know what? I'm going to meet this individual for the first time. And of course, I will like him. Not only that, he will also assume that they are also going to like him. And if you're getting into any meeting, any conversation with that kind of a mind frame, that kind of a mindset, wow, I'm sure the positive result is going to happen. The another thing was the self-vast confidence, coupled with that frank confidence he had in others, made for a combination that was irresistible as it was disarming. Now, this is very, very true in any conflict scenario. You know, um, if you look at, if you're authentic, if you have no hidden agenda, if you speak up with confidence, frankly, you will actually realize that you are not only disarming yourself, you're also disarming the other person. Easier said than done, but I have seen that, and I have also done it, and I realized that, wow, I mean, that is something which is a great technique which we can use whenever there are conflicts which can happen at a workplace, or for that matter in either scenario. So it was a weapon so powerful that it brought about a new kind of a revolution, not only conceiving of its revolution, but not primarily as a destruction of apartheid, but more enduringly as the unification and reconciliation of the complete country. And this is how Nelson Mandela was able to bring the entire country together. This would be my last slide for the day, and then we'll have some quick discussions. Helen Keller said, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And if I draw some parallels on the crux of this movie, how are each one of you doing in the pandemic? What is that anchor which is holding you? What is holding you together? How are you imagining your future? And what can you tell today that how can today contribute to your tomorrow? Because the moment you're able to define to yourself that this is how my today is going to contribute to tomorrow, you will realize, one, you have not only made peace with today, you are also creating efforts that how your today's effort will bring about that future or tomorrow which you're talking about. Yeah, and this is something which is really, really powerful in my experience of my neuroscience practice as well. If you are able to be clearly telling yourself, this is how I want my life to be, this is how I'm defining the person I want to be, and write it down, and you will realize you actually reach there very, very fast. Yeah. So friends, this is something which I wanted to share with you, and I still love to read this point one more time before we get into a quick discussion. Or is there anybody who else who would like to read? Any volunteer? Okay. So no communication.
I can do that if you want.
Yeah, sure. Please do so. Go ahead.
Okay. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bulge openings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul.
Thank you so much for reading this, Neha. Thank you. So friends, let me stop sharing my screen and let me have some quick discussions around the movie. Yes. Would anybody like to share anything? I mean, your take or your inputs? You can unmute and talk, please. Go ahead. All good? Okay, let me have a quick check. Yeah. Go ahead, Neha.
No, I was just asking, the book was named Playing the Enemy, right?
Yes, it was called Playing the Enemy.
Okay, can you just tell us a little more about, okay, or are you, have you read it or are you going to be reading it? Okay.
No. So when you say playing, so it was first released by the name Playing the Enemy. But today, if you order it, you will find another page over it, which is called Invictus. So that way, this entire movie is based on this book.
All right.
Okay. And it's very interesting. Yes. I mean, I would recommend whichever platform you may want to watch it, watch the movie, do read the book as well. Because this example which I quoted in today's presentation, you may not find this in in the movie, with respect to the kind of confidence, self-confidence in terms of likability, that I will be able to like the other person, and I will also ensure the other person will also be able to like me. May not come out very strongly in the movie, but it comes out very strongly in the book.
Okay. Sure, I'll watch this one. I haven't seen. I'll watch.
Sometimes I wonder, I mean, I'm just thinking, imagine you are going to work with the same set of people who kept you in those four walls for 27 years. How could you forgive them? I mean, imagine the power, imagine the will, imagine that calling, imagine that purpose which Mandela was thinking of when he said, yes, I forgive these people. Imagine if just think for a moment. If you are in a cell, for 27 years, and then you actually are free, you are the most powerful person in that country, you can do anything you wish, but what you do is you choose to forgive them. Amazing, no? I mean, I don't know, I don't have any words to express that.
You have to be super great to do that, I think. Or you don't have to be a human being to do that.
Absolutely, he's a superhuman being, and that's why Nelson Mandela is Nelson Mandela. I have already read his another book, which is Long Walk to Freedom. Now, but after watching this and reading this book, I'm tempted to read that book again. And God willing, probably visit Robben Island sometime.
Interesting.
Sorry?
I said that's nice, interesting.
Yeah, possibly, we could. Isabel has been quiet. Good to have you here, Isabel.
Hi, just unmuted myself and then you said Isabel is quiet. What timing?
Yes, synchronicity.
Exactly. I was just thinking, in fact, what struck me that when you started talking about this movie was, I think something that you mentioned somewhere in the beginning of your slides, which was that it was majority blacks and minority whites. And for me, when you started talking about this, what brought home for me, I think, is what's happening so much in the US right now with all of the racial injustice that's going on there, of how, it's kind of the other way around for them compared to what this movie was about. And so that's kind of what I was just thinking about as to how this might be useful or helpful to think about as well in terms of balancing some of that.
Absolutely. And probably, maybe it's a time for the societies to reflect what is happening and how things can be better for the betterment of everyone. But Isabel, let me share another side of the story as well. Huh? So if you are a fan of conspiracy theories, and you will read a lot about what is happening in US currently. So I have a friend who is on the other side, and she loves conspiracy theories, and she keeps on sending some. She's also a coach, by the way, and she keeps on sending me some links. And when you read those links, you realize, oh my God, I mean, it's a conspiracy at a very big scale. So I don't know what is true, but what you said, yes. For us as human beings, as mankind, I mean, time for us to probably start reflecting again.
Yeah. And then when you were reading the Invictus poem, at least the second time round, when I think Neha it was who read it, I don't know, the second time round, I suddenly thought about what we were talking about in the group today, which was about that Auschwitz conversation. And then you were just saying, just now about how it is, how do you forgive someone?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's again another thing. So how have or have not the Jewish people, for example, after the Holocaust and all of that, not forgiven, yes, and keeping those memories alive, and how does that eat at them or help them move on?
Yes, and I was honestly, I was not aware that the children are taken to that concentration camp, as a trip, and that was a revelation for me when I was reading in that group.
Yeah, that was a shocker to me too. I was like, what? They all take, and they all compulsorily have to go, and it's very, very super depressing. But they don't see it that way.
Yes.
Yeah, for them, it's about keeping those memories alive, and you have to be really, really careful when talking around with them about that whole incident. And not just that, just the ghetto incident and things that happened in Warsaw and all of that. Yeah, be very careful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Isabel.
Sure.
Anybody else would like to share anything? Okay, so I'll maybe wait for another maybe a minute or two, and then otherwise, what I'm going to do is we're going to wind up this session. And I'm glad that like only last time we actually overshoot the time. Otherwise, our sessions are primarily between 35 minutes to 45 minutes. So, and I'm glad today is 33 minutes. We should be able to finish at 35 in case, unless otherwise somebody wants to add something.
So I have a question. Which is going to be the next movie?
Well, you can suggest us the movie, or I was thinking of based on the conversation which was happening in the in our one of our groups today, Neha, probably Life is Beautiful is another movie which can be we probably
Yeah,
we,
that I've seen. That I've seen. It's very
okay.
nice.
So
Just
which means
absolutely stunning.
what I hear from Neha, even though she has not said it, Jimmy, pick up a movie which I have seen.
Yeah, I can relate that better maybe.
I don't think that's going to be possible, Jimmy. Somewhere or another, someone's going to not have seen some
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah, true.
agree with
But
Isabel. True, true.
having said that, please send us your suggestions.
So I think I did suggest Jimmy, and that was A Few Good Men.
Yeah, Few Good Men probably we can look at. But more than the Few Good Men, I remember only the Black Swan, Neha, what you had suggested, and it was.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was. Yeah, you can possibly narrate that incident.
We can take Few Good
People
Men.
will laugh.
Take Few Good
Sure, sure.
Sure.
I don't know why, on this earth, I thought that there's a movie, which is based
Jimmy,
on the
No,
novel.
actually, the latest movie is the Black Swan. The Black Swan concept is by Talib, but they are not interrelated.
Okay, okay. Sure. I think there's a question from someone here.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
Jimmy, in
Agi Rajesh ji.
in future session plan some Hindi movie also. Yeah, plan some management learning from Hindi movie also.
सर हमने हिंदी से स्टार्ट किया था हमने पेनल्टी मूवी किया था हम करेंगे
You
नो
have to
प्रॉब्लम
apply your mind more, but definitely you will get some movie.
सर बहुत है जरूरी नहीं we are not
I
inclined
think
towards
Lagan is very good movie which we can learn something.
सर मेरा अपना ओपिनियन
Lagan is in Hindi movie is very good.
राजेश जी लगान इज अ वेरी गुड मूवी बट इट हैज बीन यूज्ड
जी,
टू एन एक्सटेंट कि वो अब्यूज हो चुकी है दैट्स व्हाट माय फीलिंग इज अबाउट लगान बट हम ले सकते हैं लगान को ऐसा कुछ नहीं कि हम वी आर नॉट बायस्ड अगेंस्ट लगान लेकिन मेरे करियर में ट्रेनिंग करियर में लगान इतनी ज्यादा बार यूज हो चुकी है नॉट बाय मी बट माय को फैसिलिटेटर्स एज वेल कि मुझे लगता है कि वो सबको पता ही होगी वो मूवी तो
okay, no issue. You can plan some another good movie, no issue.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
Hi, Jimmy. This is Nitin here.
Hi, Nitin.
I was not aware of this initiative, and in fact, fortunately, I got this one of the invite today. Since we are talking about referring a movie, and Rajesh ji talked about Hindi movie, I would like to recommend a movie named Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is already covered, and
No,
it
no,
is
we're
one of
not
the.
covered.
It is one of the movies where the focus is on on Nasruddin Shah, who is the one who tries to implant bomb and all. But one of my colleagues suggested that you should look that movie from a point of view of the another guy in the movie called Anupam Kher,
Right.
who counters the move to plant the bomb, and that is one of the excellent example of project management, how to motivate the team, how to delegate, and how to counter.
Sure,
So
sure.
maybe you want to consider that as well.
We can take that, Nitin, but the bottom line is my decision making is democratic, decision taking is autocratic.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just proposing. Yeah. It's okay if it's not taken. Yeah.
No. We see we have a list of close to about 158 movies, and it's across all the. So what we had done last time was we had actually asked people what genre of movies they would like to
Sure.
discuss more about. So conflict management and dreams came number one. Zoya, I'd like to add what was the other topics what we had got. Zoya, I hope you're not doing a proxy there. Hello? Zoya, can you hear me? Okay, no worries. Looks like she'd sent me a message. There is some network challenge at her end. No
Yeah,
worries.
yeah.
Anji?
Network challenge था उनका, net में problem था जरा.
Net में problem था in fact. ठीक है, no problem. So we will take care of that, Nitin. And there is a WhatsApp group we have. We keep on keeping the updates, right? So so you can always join that, and we'll keep on getting a lot of updates which movie we are going to do next.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so Bhinder has just joined. Not too sure she was there earlier or not, but that's all right. Okay, so anything else anybody wants to say? Otherwise, we call it a day and look forward for a beautiful evening on a Saturday evening, right? So on a Saturday.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you very much once again.
Yeah.
Thanks for your great initiative.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for spending your Saturday on an initiative like this, inspiring people. You were talking about the anchor, right? I would say the anchor for me is, one of these sessions or a couple of other sessions that I've been attending these days during lockdown. So these sessions have been anchor for me, They keep me motivated, inspired, and, and I think management through movies is one of such initiatives. So thank you so much for spending time, this way. On your Saturday.
Thank you. You just made our day.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think you deserve it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Once again, thank you very much. From
Thank
the bottom of our heart.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Great. So in that case, I'm going to log off and see you in the next time.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Shabaka. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha. Thank you.